has never been about who plays the better squash. It's been about who's the more complete player in terms of managing the pressure and getting through the tough times of the tournament and of the week. This is the hardest part of winning the World Champ. Everyone can play good squash every now and then. Everyone can play good squash for an entire season, but not everyone can willingly and knowingly know that the World Champ is at stake and actually be able to win it.
Bowman's done it. He's done it! Ramy Shaw has come back from the dead to steal this World Championship. Well, the French general has finally done it. Farag's become World Champion.
Shabini, she is the NASA PSA Women's World Champion.
Raneem Welily is crowned champion of the world. Mohamed El Shabagi's done it. Marwan running out of juice at the end there.
David's done it.
She's done it! Laura Mazzaro.
Third World Championship title in his own.
Playing against Nicole was never easy. Never, at no point. If anything, it got harder every time. Playing her at the Worlds, I think this was the match that was tearing me up mentally. Like I'm pretty sure I couldn't sleep that night. The night of the quarters was the hardest one for me. So I was up probably all night, trying to relax, trying to think of all the possible scenarios, trying to put myself in all situations possible. And I think once I got through that match, I was so relieved to the point that I was so relaxed in the two other matches. After that, it's like the final night was actually it was easy. I was so relaxed in a way that I didn't know I could be relaxed. I never was that relaxed in a tournament before. I never was that relaxed before a big final of the tournament before. I know the night of the quarters was the toughest, and also the semifinals. I was up against Camille, who's always very hungry to win the tournament, who was playing really well this season as well, and actually the thought that if I get through Camille, I was going to play either Noor or Noor, like Noor Shibin or Noor Saib, was also messing with my head a little bit as well. So I wasn't feeling very comfortable in the night of the quarters and the semis, but in the night of the final, I was sound asleep. I was sleeping very peacefully, very quietly, and that's I don't know. That's being in the Zen moment, like I like to say, was I think the key to winning that. It was there the entire time. I remember walking into arena. The atmosphere was crazy. The crowd over there was absolutely ridiculous. I still remember how it felt like walking on court that night so well. So yeah, I was actually very excited to get on court. I was still very calm. I was just motivated. I was very hungry to win. It was a balance between being relaxed and being very hungry. But again, having lost the first game, I think all those emotions were put aside, and I started to panic again. But I don't know what happened after that first, but I remember that first, when I lost it, I was not believing that I'm in this situation again. Being in the finals of the World Open and losing the first game. I think it was over very quickly as well. Like Shirbini, I don't remember the score, but I think Shirbini won that game very quickly, as he does so many times to this day. So yeah, looking back, I just I don't know how I did it. I just know that at that week, being in the mix between having Torres lost in the first round and me wanting to actually carry on and win the tournament, being in the mix between being too calm and too relaxed, not too relaxed obviously, but just like relaxed in a good sense, like relaxed to a point where you're still buzzing, you're still anxious to win, but you're not rushing things, you're not forcing things. You know that if you don't win this time, it's okay. Like if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. So these were my thoughts that week. Winning the World Championship was definitely a highlight for me. It was the highlight of my career. The fact that I was so close so many times and wasn't able to achieve it actually gave it even more importance and even more will to actually win it. And I think winning that definitely made me so happy at the time. It was a great week for me. It was probably the best week of my career in terms of how I played and how I managed the pressure that time. Well, I remember being so relieved. I remember being so happy, like not believing that it had actually happened. Like I kept running until the very last shot. Uh, if I've learned anything from the final before against Nicole, being the 2-1 up, 10-6 match goal up, that taught me so much. So obviously, until the match point of that match, I was still, in it, ready to play 3 more games, and I was very sure that it doesn't have to end with 1 point, with 2 points. I had to do the same things that I was doing throughout the entire match and keep playing that last point as if it was the first. I called my family, of course. First of all, my brother was there. Tarek was obviously there. My fitness coach was there. Kareem Darwish, who was a huge support mentally, was there as well. Unfortunately, my squad coach, like the most important person that had to be there, couldn't make it that week. But yeah, I was with him on the phone throughout. I called my mom, my dad, and after that, I think I went to dinner with those people that I just mentioned, and yeah, it was a fun night. I also remember that night I spent a lot of hours talking to Tore about our future and what we want in life. It's a conversation that I'll never forget. So yeah, it was a memorable day for sure. The idea for me was always to retire at 30. So that conversation didn't change that, but that conversation did change the idea of me wanting to have babies. Because up until that moment, I wasn't a big fan of babies. To be very honest, I wasn't very keen on having any. But that conversation that night, it changed everything for me. It changed the way I saw everything. It was it was it was pivotal, really. Like I said, the fact that he had lost the first round was painful. It was very painful for the both of us. But he actually stayed, and he was supporting me every day, every night, throughout the whole time. Like those nights where I couldn't sleep, he was definitely there helping me too. So having him there was very crucial for sure.